Good morning again. So I'm not as fun as Dr. Schwartz, but I will do my basic role here. And so let's continue with the conference. And the next speaker will be George Rigzap from Rubiaceae Research and Development. And the title of his talk is How to Increase Farmers' Income Using Coffee Cherries. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So before I'm starting into the use of coffee cherry, I would like basically to step in by showing viewpoints. So you have on the left side basically what the farmer sees. This is beans. I see he's selling seeds, and we talked a lot about byproducts, but if you would ask the farmer what is your product, he would also point out that it's the beans. And we're talking a lot about good ideas and things, but reality on the farm usually is that a Brazilian farmer, if you tell him to dry a leaf and make a nice tea out of it, it is getting lost, yeah? And if you try to have a cup of tea from his leaf, I'm sorry, it took me some convincing time to make him not waste it, try to get rid of it, yeah? But we see that we have leaf, we have blossom, we have the cherry, and the interesting point in the cherry is you harvest the seed. The seed is quite well protected, silver skin, parchment, and around there is a pleasant, sweet, fragrant stone fruit part, which attracts all the animals. Yeah? So animals would like to eat a ripe cherry, but nobody seems to see that this is attractive. So the farmer sees it every day, but he does not see it as a product in that way. Yeah? And he's not going at it and eating it. Some even don't check for it. Yeah, they might check the sugar content, but not even more. So in these countries, usually you have mango, you have papaya, you have very nice fruit all day, and you might not think about this. But this is a huge part of what is harvested. Yeah? And also we have wood. So I don't like to see coffee byproducts as byproducts, but in fact, for the farmer, they are byproducts. And we will have to convince him that he's going into product development and understanding that there is a value in this. Yeah? And this is not really done. So as we know by literature, that coffee byproducts are all of interest, as all parts of the coffee plant can be utilized in commercial products, the farmer needs to apply. Yeah? And so there need to be a kind of strategic thinking and say, we have materials, what are we doing out of it? And a farmer cannot just do like selling all the cascara as specialty. It's tons of cascara. Maybe he needs different options, and also he needs options because if your partner is Coca-Cola, you might imagine that you are a small player. Yeah? So this means if you have this idea of fertilizer and energy production, you've seen there are these kind of bioplants. It's a high investment, but it pays back. So you can go to your bank and ask. And if you are a mid-sized farmer, and surrounded by small farmers, you might even get their waste, and then you can basically deliver electricity, energy. And they are not in Europe. They are sometimes at remote places. So in India, while you sleep, and then you listen to the diesel going on and off, and things like that, or electricity, basically 1 hour not available. Yeah, and for the pulper station, they need to have an additional one. So electricity is not a given in these areas, and a bioplant would be fantastic. Yeah? The second option basically is to sell. So parchment and wood, yeah, maybe not giving too much payback, but an artisan wood worker would love to work with coffee wood. It's exceptional, it's really nice. You need to invest a little bit in drying the wood, and there might be some drawback in shipping this kind of wood, but might be a small market. Yeah? They use it also for firewood and also can produce energy, but there's some chunk can be used for getting some money back. So for the bulk cascara, we see now that all the big players come into the market. If you want to buy a kilogram of cascara, I guess you are at 10, 20 euro a kg, which for me as a tea drinker is quite a high price if compared to the quality of what I get. And then they sell it to the consumer for like 80 euros a kilogram. Hard to believe, but it seems to work. Yeah, I'm not of the people who like healthy drinks. I like tasty things and real flavored stuff, and I'm going for the right ones. Yeah, I'm much more like the animals on the farm or the elephant, picking the nice things rather than having this this kind of industry is telling you this is good for you. It's a bad taste, but it's like medicine. Yeah, and yeah. So a bulk cascara, you had a kind of medium investment because you need to dry it. If you tell a farmer he needs to dry tons of cascara on his farm to be pleasant and not just piling it up and drying it, because then it's not pleasant anymore after a couple of days, and you will see maybe some insects going in and some smell coming out. So drying is expensive. They don't have drying at hand, and they need to dry their coffee. So if the price would be skyrocket high, even then, they cannot process their coffee. Yeah? So they need a kind of strategy. And if you have the latest possible and best kind of processing equipment, you might find ways to make a decent cascara. But if you would think as a food producer and have quality products, this would be a different game. You need to add up, you have a line of food production rather than having a line of just seed isolation. Yeah? And that means you need to rebuild your coffee workup. And this is obviously a high investment, but then you're getting a lot more independent from big players, because the big players can also use your junk. They just extract. I'm a chemist, that's not a problem. If I want a caffeine, I don't care about how this stinks. I will get it out. Yeah? And then I pay you the amount of money which is the caffeine. But if I have a lot of players around, then it's getting cheap and cheaper and even cheaper. And if you sell waste, you're basically getting the companies to sell. You get some decent stuff and then you mix it with waste because it gives you money back. Yeah? So don't enter the game. They are playing with you. So the farmers really need to create and invest in sustainable solutions, sustainable also for the farmer. The farmer needs to get a better position, needs to get more money, needs to be more attractive, build houses for his workers or whatsoever, give something back and prosper on that. Not just the situation like now. You cannot even invest money into your processing because all the money is going to your pickers, but also earning something, yeah, on top of this. And food products basically also need some time. So there's space, you need education. You need to have people coming into your farm telling you, and you need to be open-minded. So you're much more in the specialty situation by farmers who understand what is a good product. If you start from the very scratch and nobody knows nothing, then it's a problem. But these farmers can be kind of focal points for other small ones, and they will influence the whole region. And then maybe some people come up and say, okay, can we partner with you? There might be some good ideas in that. So if we have a look at cascara, why is this, and this is basically, why can the farmer make a lot of money out of it? It's, if you could sell as a tea, and if you have a good food quality, you would use like 10 to 12 grams a liter. I've seen in the other talk like 35 grams a liter is a bit strong. It's maybe for the Brazilian samba. It's, the European view would be 10 to 12. Then you are caffeinated enough. Yeah, it's like you are having a good coffee. And you see with the roasted coffee, you need quite some green coffee to equal that. So a tea drinker always has a higher price in kilogram of tea, but it's much more effective in terms of it's cheaper per cup. And that means you can have cascara prices minimum at the level of your coffee as a farmer. And for the industry, it's not a problem, it's even cheap. Yeah, because they don't put a lot into their product. It's much cheaper if compared to making coffee beverages. And so this is really nice and interesting. But the challenge here is that usually cascara comes from the production flow. And we always see nice pictures of nice red cherries. And you're holding in your hands, it seems this is sustainable and this is nice. If you would put these in water, it's not crystal clear water, it's getting a little colored. And you see it here of the standard coffee production. Yeah? So this is kind of hygienic status of coffee production. And basically cascara is isolated, it's moving through the pulper, and then it's piled up in this kind of way. So if you would grab your hand and have a fresh brew of cascara, it would not be nice. If you wait for a couple of days, you would not even come near to this kind of stuff. Yeah? And they usually bring it away in the plantation. You cannot use for fertilizer in this way. You would put insects and whatsoever back, and you would cut a lot of caffeine back. So therefore, a power plant would be the nicest idea. Yeah? Or you're having a line which produces really food stuff. And as you see it here, the seed is basically what the farmer is going for. It's a kind of mantra of not harming the seed and not causing the seed to grow a plant. But this is not any more sufficient. If you are making food products and you are going for the fruit, you need to protect the usually digested part. So the seed basically knows I can withstand everything. I'm packed very well, I'm protected very well, and I don't mind whether some animal eats the fruit part, digests it, I'm coming out and I'm growing, no problem. But if you make experimentation with a kind of food regimen on the cleaning and playing around with the cherries, you're also getting it in the cup. You don't get this in a very dramatic way, but you understand it's between a coffee making third place and first place, yeah, in a competition maybe, or even a little more. But now with a clean fruit, you can also work on fermentation and you have a lot of different possibilities to change the classical way of coffee production. And you're making a lot of different products than rather one bulk product out of your stuff. Yeah, you can really align to variety, you can really polish and play with your stuff. But the farmers are not used to. The farmers are used to go through the system, make your regiment. And you try to think of every single step. If you would have energy, you try to think of machine drying of things, not going into 100% sun drying, maybe pre-drying it and then sun drying it. So you have a lot of options. So tasting cascara from a production, which is a good batch, yeah, coming out of the production we've seen here, but maybe the updated version, which is sold now, which has a little more cleaning. and it's not too problematic. At best, you get something which does not look like it's a fruit. If you brew this, your feeling is, okay, it has some lactic aspects, it's okay. It's some vegetal dry aroma stuff like tea or straw or whatsoever. But then there is this moldy taste. And it might be just a couple of percentage, but it's sitting there. And it's basically nothing you would say, oh, this is a nice fruity beverage. You can use it, gives you body, and it gives you some sweetness. Do not misunderstand me, the industry basically knows why they want it. Yeah? But if you would do a food preparation of that, you see you just add this kind of nice floral taste like blossoms, and you also add dried fruit character, and you just remove the moldy stuff, and you end up also with some nice sugar aspects of this, which have like reminiscence of rose aromas like honey and things like that. And it was really amazing and pleasant to cup this by doing it like hand picking, hand washing, and hand pulping and drying on an oven, so that you could see, wow, this variety is really fantastic. This is a red cherry. It's much more complex if compared to a yellow cherry. And the yellow cherry gives you more caramel. It's really brilliant to see. We also had some nice effects on Indian Canafra coffee, which was more like a cucumber. But maybe the British will think of the right tonic, yeah, of that. But it was always clean, and you could always make something out of it. You just need people, and this is also our point. We need to just develop also products, yeah, also artisan products that the farmers can sell high quality stuff. If we don't do it on our side, they can enter the market with the best quality, and then Nestle will buy it, yeah, and they mix it, yeah, and it's also not the best way. So coming back again, we should not just think of these byproducts as materials, and we should not just sell them as materials. If we are farmers, we should not sell waste, because this has a tradition in coffee. You're selling black beans, you're selling defects to some guys grabbing it up, and then they mix it in our coffee again. If you sell shit, then you increase the amount of coffee on the market. It's not a good idea, yeah. And this is coming back to you already. So you should not sell this. You should burn it and make some fertilizer ash, or you should put it in your bioplant. Yeah, it's a much better idea. Yeah. So the farmers have to do some strategic planning and investment, and go into 21st century future ideas. But I believe if you talk to people who are coming to you and ask, we are a big bank and we would like to sponsor sustainability, and you show up and you say they can do this, they understand, and they say, okay, there's a return of investment, I will give money to it. So some of the farmers, they are crazy, they are buying even more land, trying to make more of the seed, and trying to have more problems because you don't find pickers. But you can make double, triple, quadruple amount of money with selling excellent food products. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Yeah, sometimes it's crazy how many hectares you need to manage to make a good amount of money. It's a huge responsibility, and I'm sometimes really, it's amazing to see like two brothers going over thousands of hectares, managing everything in person. Yeah. And I believe if they would have this strategic sit back and think, they could do amazing things and change things. So investing in new food grade green coffee production and infrastructure will pay off. Even the standard stuff, even the standard cascara has a good value. So you're sitting on money, yeah? And you can tell the bank, now Coca-Cola is coming in and all these others, they can promote you. Yeah? And you have the possibility, and you can open it up to make all the fruit products imaginable. So I know that in Brazil you have fresh fruit. It's so fantastic, yeah. You don't need jelly, jam. You don't need to preserve it for the winter time. It's always there. But as a European, you would distill it, yeah. You would make a nice coffee cachaça thing, and we did it already. And I think Dirk Lachenmeier also he checked for it, and he was very positive about the best lots, yeah. And I believe also the distilleries we asked for this, they would like to have the stuff, yeah. It's so excellent. It's so nice stone fruit character. Nobody knows. If you think of coffee, obviously the people think of coffee, but this is really fruity. Yeah? And so the production of sought-after specialty products and conversion into fertilizer will give you a much better position against the big players. You're not dependent 100% on somebody to say, I'm just buying your whole harvest, you give me this price, otherwise I will move away. And this is a real bad situation. This is a lot of pressure. And I know there are thousands of pickers in your farm. You need to pay every month. And this is really a situation for somebody working in industry like me. I'm getting my payment, no problem. Yeah? But they really have to pay. Yeah? And it's really a lot. So the farmer should kick the habit of solely dealing with big industrial players. I don't say that every farmer should do this. The very big ones, yeah, will make decent material. They are in kind of industrial production. If you have a Brazilian farm which is having these automated harvesters, and even if this is flat land, they will make a very good quality because they are fast. They are fast in collecting the cherries. They are fast in processing the cherries. And then they have a centrifuge. They pre-dry it, and they can also afford industrial drying. And they don't. It doesn't matter if the price is like €1 a kg or 4. They will make their money out of it. Yeah. But that's not the farmer, the small one or the medium-sized one, who employs a lot of people. They employ a lot of automated systems, and I don't have a good relationship to machines. I have a relationship to people. And we should really think of the smaller ones, which really build the most of the coffee, which is coming from small farmers. Yeah. Okay, this is just literature, and then I come to my end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now it's time for questions. Does anybody have a question? Here. The mic here.
Thank you very much for the very nice presentation. Do you think that we have some responsibility about just to teach the farmer how to deal with a sustainable coffee system, that probably we need just to offer them the opportunities and to work together within on the chain of their mind about the normal production of the traditional production way that they are doing, how they can move it to another one. I think that probably is our responsibility, no? Just to
exactly. But I don't want to go like the British invade India and say you have to do it this way. It needs to be talk of equal people, just to explore things. And this is always the best. It is sometimes hard. You're sitting there and the farmer does not understand. And I say, but we make it this way, and here is the crazy, and so on. But it gives the best results, because then they are building up. They really need to be the owner of their own products.
Of course.
And that is sometimes, there's a lot of models and whatsoever, but really talking to the people and really education is a key thing.
It is.
And I believe that the farmers really are fantastic sometimes about growing things.
Yes.
but the ones which make a living also good with their financial situation, but it's not that kind of university status that you basically know to how to do business, and maybe some of the farmers even don't speak English.
Yes.
And if then the English guys come in,
But you can speak in Spanish too, because some of them they are speaking Spanish, and then if you move to there with no governmental money, for instance, and you go there, probably you can teach them what products they can do in situ, and then probably this is a way to stimulate them, just to change their mind about how good can be just to use this product. I mean, you mentioned something that to me is very relevant, that is the drying process. That is always a problem. But I think that you propose a very good stuff that is just to make a combination between a pre-treatment that, because they have some, probably they can use the photovoltaic stuff just to make it in a sustainable way the pre-drying, and probably they can move to the sun drying. But this is something that probably we can help them just to try to understand.
I believed also that when I started into chemistry, I started in Frankfurt, and Höchst was just flowing apart in different pieces. And lessons learned was, in the former days, they had everything. They built everything on their own. And then they split off in small companies. There is no such thing like a trader of coffee beans, which is going into the plantation and educates or has ideas of how to better do things. There's also no trader owning plantations and saying this is a role model for things. Here in Europe, it's like you're doing wine, and then there is also an institute or whatsoever, and they are going deep into it. They have their own vineyard, and they're playing with everything. And then wine developed so much over the last decades, and coffee is like 1860. It's really
but probably we need to go to the
happening anymore.
We have to visit to the farmers, and to work with the farmers itself. Probably for Adriana it's easier because she's closer, but we can do it also in some way.
Brazil is a fantastic country to do it, because there's industry, there's university, and I believe there's a high potential.
But also poor countries more than you, that like Nicaragua or Honduras or Salvador, they are open also just to the new technologies.
I think we also have at-place solutions.
And Colombia, that we didn't mention.
We can build small systems, like there was always the idea to produce in place. Also for the chemistry guys, they make containers, and this is your factory, and you go through. There's a lot of possibilities. You will have startups which come up, but nobody at the moment, all the pieces are there, but nobody at the moment knows how coffee is really produced. Lots of people also in university, they never seen this. If you visit the farm, the first time it's all nice. You get nice food, you're getting introduced to Brazilian culture and things like that. You have a lot of nice caipirinha. But understanding what is the problem with coffee took me like a couple of years coming back and back and back again, and then asking the question, can we do this, can we do that? And if you do not have hands on things, it's always a nice visit, and it's always like, it's a given, they just know what they do. And sometimes they really don't know what they do or why.
If I may, I think we first have to understand what's the best way to make to treat the cascara. We were just talking in the break that some people there are commercializing cascara, and you buy expecting one thing, and then one year is good and next year is terrible, so they don't know, it's just by chance that's good. So we need to standardize processes, options, and we can train the cooperatives so that they can work with the farmers. And this is being very successful in Brazil. You have the field day when the cooperatives go to different farms, and they get together, they discuss about how to produce and the problems. So I think this can be done, but we need to first figure out a few methods to systematize them.
Yeah, it's like with the fear of making a natural coffee. Say this is always bad. You cannot control. I'm sorry, but you can control everything. You just need to know what to do.
Exactly.
But if you are not paid very well for a natural coffee, you don't wash it, you don't select it, and you don't ferment it in a special way, then you're lost a little bit. It's like winemaking from the Romans. They don't have this kind of technology, and maybe this year was good, this year was bad, and maybe they had somebody who was guilty then. They found somebody saying, this guy made it bad. And that's the problem also with coffee, that you need to stabilize and make robust process, and also to get the industry not to saying, oh, this is natural, it's not enough money and it's not good.
There was a gentleman. Do we have time for one more question? Yeah, in the back.
Sorry, I already got the microphone. I have a very short question.
Sorry, I didn't see you. Sorry.
In line with your going to the cooperatives and teach them, so I'm not an expert in coffee plantation at all, but I read a lot right now about programs making coffee farming more attractive for young people in various countries around this wonderful earth. And maybe I'm not aware that something like that is part of this program. It's always about raising coffee to produce coffee, and nothing to do with all the cherries and byproducts and whatsoever. So maybe it would be also good to include this into all these programs running right now. Maybe it is already included and I'm not aware of it, but if not, I think this would be something to really make coffee plantations more attractive.
Yeah, I bring it there. I run. Cherry is not for charity only.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for your good presentation. Can you give us two hands-on examples on who is doing what you are suggesting very good? Maybe there must be a good example you can refer to. And another one to compare actually where it's done really bad, right? Exactly the opposite what you are suggesting. Two hands-on examples, how it works currently, bad and good.
Yes, in principle with the byproducts and with the cascara, you don't have a situation with commercial cascara being fantastic, not available. We are trying to build it, so it runs good with farmers. You talk to them, you visit them, and you do the process of them together. We have samples, obviously. We know what we would like to do. But now we have to build machinery. So now we have to convince also companies here in Germany, for example, to build this a production line, because the farmers are no engineers in that way. And you need just to get people to think, okay, this could be a business for me. I'm not into production equipment for coffee. This is quite a weird thing. But in principle, I'm doing fruit processing. Why not going into coffee? This is the first question always. But this is a big step. This is lots of discussion. It's not easy to say, if you ask the farmer, just buy a machine like this, he said, can I do this from the coffee company? I said, no, it's not stainless steel. And you don't understand. So we will have to bring the technology and we will have to produce the first ton of material for cascara. But I believe that experience with the farmers we picked over years, and this is Stefan Swartz's experience with his friends who are running farms, is that you really have this kind of education, you really have these lessons learned, because they changed already a lot in their process. They already streamlined the process. We started from a very good quality, but quality enhancement over years was every year you could see it's getting better and better and better. And they absorbed the ideas and they understood. And I think this is why we are doing it again and again. But optimizing something to make it more robust and to teach the people the small things is one part, but doing a completely new process is a bit weird, and it's a bit special. And it runs, let's say, in the worst way, I believe, if you have so much pressure that you skip steps, or that you try to go to the boundaries of the process, and it can happen all day. Yeah, it helped a lot to have programs in India and Brazil that the farmer built his own roastery and make his own blend and sell his own coffee to Brazil, to India, cup his own coffee. This changed everything, because now they bring their coffee in their home market, and this was a very successful thing. So, but it always has to do with personal relationship. You cannot just go to the Brazilian and teach him. He will have to invite you, he will have to like you. And this is really a relationship. It's not like the worst case American guy comes in and says, oh, I'm doing this and this, and you will have to sign this form, and you will have to do this. It's really you get to know the people, and this is a lot of time investment, and you can only do it step by step. And the people needs to like you, and yeah. This is a lot of this traveling is also this kind of social contact with the people, and then you're making experiments. Sometimes it's a problem to get both together, and it's more on the social side, but usually it helps a lot. And then if somebody trusts you as a farmer and is good experience, you can go on. So it's a long process.
Yeah, it seems like we have 2 more questions.
Very quickly, other than alluding to Nestle and Coca-Cola, where is the market? Who are the middle people who are purchasing this ideal Cascara that has been processed beautifully and hygienically and food safely? What projects or companies do you know are currently buying up vast amounts to sell to all the other beverage companies other than Coke, Nestle, and Starbucks?
Yeah, I would believe at the moment there is not so much on the market to buy. Yeah, maybe you will have a couple of containers. And
because it's tough to ask the farmer to do this, and then they say,
yeah, this is why I said that we are now trying to do products out of it. And to see in the specialty market, like people making special food, you can add this. You can go to really artisan guys who are doing chocolate, who are doing other stuff. And I said, I like the flavor. I like to bring it in. I like to use it. There are people like that available. And we just need some time for the product, and if we have the product, we also try to find now alliance in the food network to bring it in and to make products, but to make high-end products rather than products which are more like Coca-Cola. So we already started to make beverages, and there are also small startups who start into this. And it's successful already, yeah? You can make a good lemonade out of it. This is a good situation, because also a small company can do this. Technology is there, you just go there, fill it. And if you would have the best possible Cascara, it will sell for a good price. Yeah? That's already okay. And I think that the tea market is quite interesting. Yeah, if it is really fresh and good, it's really nice and refreshing. Also a good beverage. Yes, and stand for its own. Then you can really sell it as a tea. What I've experienced at the moment be sold as a tea is, for me, it's not really drinkable. Yeah, I don't like it, but maybe I'm too picky here. I'm even picky of special standard Darjeeling teas from India. So maybe I'm not the guy to say it's don't do it anyway. But I know from coffee, if you have free coffee in the company, the people all travel to the machine. And if you have some kind of sensory equipment, you come into the room and you smell it and say, oh my God, they had this coffee again. Yeah, and I say, I cannot stand it, I have to go out. Yeah, and this is because I had some coffee consulate contact and had some courses there, and then learned coffee can be completely different. Yeah, and for the Cascara, it will be the same. We should teach the people Cascara can be a fantastic product.
Yes.
Don't think of Cascara like brute waste. If you bring it in like this, the people say, I tasted it and it is, I don't like it. It may be the health bringer whatsoever, and I read that it's against cancer and everything, but I cannot stand it. Yeah, that's not good.
So, last question now.
Maybe not a question, but a command building up on your recommendations. So, Stefan Scholle, I've worked for Melitta some years and also working now in the startup roast market. And what I like is your first statement, it either comes from the production side or your statement has come from the market, from the end consumer mind, from the selling side, because it's not so easy for smaller farms to do so. The larger farms could do so, but I think we should encourage them in two ways. Stick to your old word and continue your business model, but be aware of your value chain which you have created and that might be endangered. Yeah, and it's always this chance-risk game of harvesting or not and selling the prices and also being somehow not fully independent. Yeah, being dependent on the trader's chain, being dependent on the price levels, of course.
I think there are ways out. And there are also ways that if you taste the coffee coming out of the food process, you would be thinking, oh, this is, I always liked a washed coffee and it's so clean. It's not clean. Yeah. If you would like to taste a clean coffee, you need have 100% control on this. In food style process, you would say everything is dirty. Even the 96, whatever does mean point whatsoever coffee is not clean. And that basically reminds you, if everybody would know what can be clean in coffee, nothing would be accepted anymore. Yeah, it can be really a drastic situation. It's really a lessons learned. For years we thought we know this is the Canephora aroma and this is the Canephora flavor, and then we did some work on it and it was all gone. This was like the transportation dust, dirt flavor, but it was not the Canephora flavor. So most of the people even don't know what this could taste like, and could be amazing. Yeah, and then that just tells you it's the wrong way to make price pressure, and you need to go in specialty. And there are a cup of excellence and whatsoever things, so you can show off your coffee. And if you have a very good coffee, maybe also other products can be done. Because the farmer sees he's more payback with kind of competition. There's always something you can do, because the coffee will reflect your work. And everybody who starts into quality can show off. There's a good organization in coffee to have cupping competition. And I believe if Cascara is fantastic, they will add also something for Cascara. So organizational things are there. Yeah, we just need to use them. Yeah? It's also in our ballpark a little bit. Yeah?
What I would encourage them is really this, as you said, new world. Yeah, because there's a new chance. Because when you ask them which lessons you've learned in the past, who gets the latest chunk, the biggest chunk of the value chain, it's normally on the roaster side or when you sell the final coffee. So that would be interesting to match startups. Like I know many startups in the US, they start Cascara and try to enter the market. And if you do a startup screening, that's phenomenal. It's not only the large corporations trying that, and they often miss it, the direct contact to the farm, and are in struggle on that end. So matching those, it's a question of time, of course, that makes some, but these trends are there, this ready-to-drink trends are there and coming from that edge, and to see the chance, but honestly, it's two worlds. You need to keep your old world running and make a step into the new world as a farmer. So it's maybe a difficult step in the beginning. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Dr. George.